Tupac, who really bailed Tupac out of prison?
I mean, I remember just hearing the stories about Tupac being bailed out of prison. I remember he went to Interscope, he went to everybody, and they turned him down, right? And I remember Suge went up there to see him, to try to talk business. And I remember a story of saying that Tupac signed on some type of, it was like a paper towel. It was something because the deal had went. I don't know if they had initially thought it would go down that particular time Suge went, but the deal went down, and I don't think there was legal docs at that moment, and something was signed on paper towel, tissue, something. And Suge, he was credited 100% for getting him out. 100%. I don't know who would ever claim that they had anything to do with it other than Mr. Knight. That's a lie.
Yeah, because you got Interscope. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Defiant ones.
Yeah, but
Interscope claims in the Defiant ones that they the ones that actually put the money behind bailing Tupac out. So,
if Interscope was the people, I mean, Pac was initially over there and had asked them for months, why was he sitting in jail all this time if Interscope was behind it? They could have went out there and did it themselves. Suge went out there and did it. That was his money. I mean, we knew at that moment that it was always Suge. Always. Always. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Interscope having any involvement in it, in the Defiant ones. But no, I remember we were closely monitoring that because it was like kids, and we wanted Pac home. Especially Daz, we wanted Pac home. And I remember right after Suge left, that deal was signed and he was coming home. And why did Interscope need Suge to go down there with their money? I mean, they're two separate. The Interscope's over here, Death Row's over here. He could have did it. The Interscope could have did it themselves. Jimmy Iovine could have went down there himself and did it. Why let Suge do it? Because Suge did it himself. I mean, that was Suge's call. Period.
So to go to the Tupac hospital scene, when Tupac was in the hospital, is it true he was getting death threats while he was in there?
I believe when Tupac was in the hospital, because you guys remember I gave that interview about me being in the yellow tape and all the nasty things were said to us. Basically, people saying you guys should die slow. I believe that, it was a lot of hatred for Death Row Records at that point. I believe so, and it probably was. I mean, while he was in the hospital, I mean, that's why you have security there, because you got people, because at this point, nobody knew where it was coming from. So I'm sure there were death threats coming. I mean, I'm almost certain. Of course they were.
If I'm not mistaken, the doctors was saying that Tupac was gonna survive, right?
That's initially the first, I want to say, past Monday. By Tuesday, they were optimistic that Tupac would survive this. Now, like I told you, when I got a glimpse of him, I didn't see that. So I'm thinking something must have miraculously happened, after I left the hospital, because they said at that point, Tuesday on, he was doing better, and I'm like, okay, I believe in my Heavenly Father, and I'm thinking, a miracle has just taken place, because they were speaking so many good things, that he's getting better, he's going to make a full recovery. With so many positive things. After Tuesday, Monday, not the case. After Tuesday, and then Friday, we get, boom, he's dead. And I'm like, that's kind of where we were. Like, they were just saying he was doing better. And he was going to be okay. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, the atom bomb just drops. He's gone.
Yeah, because I seen an interview. I don't know if it's still online, but I seen an interview from like a doctor, and they interviewed him and they asked him, was Tupac gonna survive and how was he doing? And the doctor even said that, he's doing okay and he's gonna survive. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, to hear the doctor say that. Then, a few days later, he, passed away. So,
yeah, it was it was quite surprising to me as well, because How?
How do you feel about people that say Tupac was talking in the hospital?
And when I hear stories of people saying Tupac talked in the hospital, I don't believe any of that, because on Monday he was not able to speak. He was in no condition to speak. None. It was no way. You know, it was no way possible. I just recently finally sat back and watched the A&E documentary, that Tupac and Biggie documentary, because for a long time, even though my good friend had directed it, Anthony Hemingway, I wanted to watch it and just sit back and depict it. And they actually did a really good job on there, you know, of that Tupac and Biggie A&E, what was that? Is that A&E show? Yeah. And it was accurate. And if I'm not mistaken, during the filming of that, Tupac was never alert. They had him alert at one point. They had him alert the last day he died in this particular documentary. And you know, he not really talking, but just opening his eyes and giving these eye signals to his mom, you know, eye signals, never talking. So I'm just quite confused on why people are saying he was talking. I don't believe that, because he was not okay on Monday to talk. He was not okay. I don't believe it. I don't.
Yeah, man. I mean, from everything I heard from you and everybody else, you know, Tupac had tubes in his mouth. So, yeah, man. There's no way he could have talked.
There's absolutely no way, from what I seen on Monday, that my friend said anything. I believe I got my final words from him just before, you know, he got in the car with his jersey on, and I hold on to that. Hold on to that, you know, and he was beloved, and I'm just happy that the people who loved him the most were there at that hospital, you know, before he died. You know, we just gonna hold on to that good memory. Do away with all those conspiracy theories, you know. The people who loved him the most were there. Period.